but we're also in the UFL playoffs getting ready to kick off this week as we got the UFL champions and the XFL champions going head to head. And we're going to go ahead and start with the USFL championship where Kelsey's Birmingham Stallions trying to go for a 3 or 4-peat, depending on who you talk to, taking our good friend Zach, our good buddy Zach Coleman's Michigan Panthers for the USFL championship to head to the UFL champion. A very interesting season for the Stallions. Still finished 7-3. We're still very, very good, but a little disappointing considering they had such high expectations. They've been like, what, 20-2 the last 2 years or something ridiculous like that, or 18. Like, they've been so outstanding. And this year they were just good. So, Kelsey, do your Stallions get it done, or do we see a Panther upset?
I will say this, and I said this when we did our intro. I thought the Michigan Panthers would be better with Bryce Perkins, or maybe I said it on Jared's show. I'm not sure. But I know I said Bryce Perkins for the Panthers was a better option at starting quarterback than any other player on their team. And guess what? The Virginia alum, Bryce Perkins, is a fantastic quarterback for the Michigan Panthers. Should not surprise anybody. The Stallions got off to a rough start, and since that, I believe they were 7-1 down the last 8 weeks. Maybe mistaken, maybe they're 6-2, but I do believe the last 7 week or 8 weeks they went 7-1. This team is, look, Skip Holtz knows how to coach when it comes to big games in the UFL, USFL. This is a 4-peat. I don't care what anybody says. You won 2 in the USFL. You're going to win 2 in the XFL. This is what's going to happen. So now they just have to win this game, and you're going to win you have a great chance to win your second for the XFL and be a 4 straight season champion. However you want to break that down, I don't care whether you want to call back-to-back and then back-to-back. I don't care. I'm going to call it a 4-peat. That's what it is. So give me the Stallions in this one. I don't think I'm going to take my bias off for this one. I'm leaving it right there and wearing it proud.
I want to take a look at the line too. Birmingham's just a -1.5 favorite too. They've been like they're usually the last few years a much larger favorite than that. So you could tell that A, they have a lot of faith in the Panthers to keep it close, and B, the Stallions, as you mentioned, while they've been very good, there's just quite that missing edge of here we go again. They don't have that 2022, 2023 Georgia feel of, okay, we already know they're going to lose. The question is by how much. So or maybe it's 21, 22. Either way, my point remains. I'm going to stick with the Stallions as well. I think they're going to win a close one. I think they're just going to control the ball a little bit better. I think they're a little bit more balanced. And I do like Bryce Perkins at quarterback. I think the former Los Angeles Rams have been a very strong upgrade, but we're still going to go with the Stallions. And I do think, as we mentioned, pedigree does matter in this situation in a tight game like that. I think they'll find a way to squeak it out close. Because it's 1.5, they'll cover the spread. The boys are going to be close. Might even come down to like 3 points or something like that. Like maybe you go for two too early or something silly.
Last year's game against these two was a fantastic game as well. This one's going to continue that way.
Absolutely. Then we head over to the XFL side as the DC Defenders take on the St. Louis Battlehawks, and pretty much the two best teams for most of the year record-wise until the last couple of weeks, where the DC Defenders basically fell off. They were like 6-2 at one point, then lost 2 in a row, or 5-1. They were cooking and they fell off. Battlehawks, a slower start, but caught fire down the stretch and have been absolutely outstanding. -2 for the Battlehawks in St. Louis, if I'm not mistaken, nonetheless, too. So, Kelsey, is it going to be the Battlehawks Stallions, or do the Defenders get it done?
Yeah, the Battlehawks have had the 2 worst showings in a conference playoff, or not even getting a chance to be in a conference playoff for the last 2 seasons. Once in the when they were the XFL, and then once last year in the UFL, they got shafted. Again, ironically, both were played in St. Louis, and they didn't get to appear. Now, in St. Louis, they get to appear. They're the home team. Probably the best crowd in all of the UFL is St. Louis. I have the Battlehawks as my favorite. The Defenders continue to backwalk their way into the playoffs. It's been 2 seasons now of this. Last year, this year. It doesn't look good. Jordan Ta'amu still looks like the guy who's consistently trying to throw a game for the DC Defenders. He feels like Shane Falco before Shane Falco showed up in the replacements, where somebody's shaving something, and it sure as heck ain't his beard. It's been a problem, and so for that, I'm going to go with the Battlehawks in this one as well.
I don't love the way Jordan Ta'amu played down the stretch of the season. He finished with 17 touchdowns, a not inspiring 55% completion. Like, it was something just seems to always, he's such a strong history of being a good spring quarterback, but it feels like the last couple of years with DC, he just has not been the same. Like you said, just some of those passes, some of the decisions, they just have you questioning. He almost looks like a deer in the headlights at different times. He doesn't move very well, so him trying to, it reminds me of when Baker Mayfield would try to run with Cleveland. It's like, you're not as athletic as you think. Don't move so much. Just
Like you're more
reset your
athletic
feet.
than Peyton Manning, but you're not more athletic than Eli.
Exactly. By today's quarterback athletic standards, you are Peyton Manning or Eli Manning. Like, just slide your feet, roll a little bit, but don't be taking off. Don't be high. Don't be doing anything clever. I don't love their running game. Deion Jackson's all right. He's been up pretty solid. Abraham Smith's been pretty solid. I like the receivers. Cornell Powell's been really good. Chris Rowland, they've combined for 10 touchdowns. They've been solid there. Defensively, they were outstanding for those first 2 months. They were, I think them and Arlington were the two top defenses for the first couple of months. It's not the smartest bet, but I do think that that defense could keep them in it. So I'm going to go and take DC to pull the upset. I think it's going to be very close. I think they're going to win because Jordan Time was not going to be asked to win. I think defensively they're going to find just enough juice to not let the Battlehawks more or less do what the Battlehawks do, if that makes sense. They're going to find just enough juice defensively. The pass rush when it's on has been one of the stronger units of the entire season, offense, defense, whatever it might be. Max Duggan, we already know he can. Whether it's Max Duggan, whoever's playing quarterback, we know they can handle it. I also just don't. I think they're gonna do a good job keying in on the run against the Battlehawks, which I think is gonna slow them down and force them to pass. Just double team. Don't let Hakeem Butler get loose. I guess if that among all things, but
Good luck.
exactly. But they have a total of, if my math is correct, they have 7 passing touchdowns on the year. So they're not necessarily lighting it up through the air. They've obviously on the ground, they make up for that in tenfold with 16 rushing touchdowns. So I think if they are able to stop the run, keep Max Duggan from using his legs, same with Sanders and Howard, I think they can make it very interesting if they can get him in those passing situations, let the defense tee off. So we're gonna take the DC Fenders with a defensive minded upset. So for you, we have the Stallions taking on the Battlehawks. For me, we have the Stallions taking on the Defenders. Your Stallions pulling it off, or do the Battlehawks offer a little bit too much resistance with that ground game?
Yeah, I have to go with the Stallions. I just said I'm not going to take my bias off of this one. Look, I think the Battlehawks are an interesting team. I think they can be a championship team. I just think for some reason, when it comes to these spring leagues, I don't think there's any denying the fact that the Stallions have proven, until otherwise taken away from them, that they are the best run team year after year after year. They've changed their quarterback every single year. They've changed running back every single year. They've changed their number one receiver every single year. They've changed their number one linebacker every single year. They've changed their number one safety every single year. And yet somehow there's one person that continues to be there, and that's Skip Holtz. And he continues to lead this team to a championship year after year after year. And if, assuming they get there, they have a chance to win another title, I will not be shocked to see them win another title. I will be more shocked to see them get blown out in a title game than I would be to even have a close game and lose. I think this team would be, until proven otherwise, I have to go with the Stallions. You don't win 3 straight spring league championships and not have some kind of confidence going into this. Like, you have to have some sort of confidence going into these playoffs and going into a potential championship game. And the Battlehawks, on the other hand, I just talked about, they got shafted 2 years previous from even making it to the conference championship by other teams that don't deserve it. And here they are finally, and assuming they make it to the championship game, which is still a big assuming because you still have to get past DC, I don't think they have the offense enough to keep up with what the Stallions can do offensively. I think that's what the difference. The Stallions offense would be hugely favored in a matchup against the Battlehawks. And that's where I think the difference lies. So for me, I would have the Stallions winning it all.
For me, I have the Stallions taking on the Defenders. And like you mentioned, I think the Stallions will be burning with confidence going into this game. I think they'll be ready to go. They played 5 different quarterbacks this year. Still won 7-3. Running the ball, they had like 10 different people carry the ball at some point. They scored 10 touchdowns, gave up 9 on the ground. Defensively, statistically speaking, they were pretty okay. I mean, like they had 7 takeaways where opponents got 8 on them. Like they just found unique ways to win. There was nothing that was super outstanding. They just kind of controlled, found a way, 17-13, something like that. Just always found a unique way to win. It's really hard to pick against them, but like you're not taking the bias off. I'm going to keep the bias on as well. I think Teamu's going to he's going to throw them a couple. It's up to the Stallions to catch them. And I think if this is a case where the Stallions don't catch those ones Tiamo throws at them, that's where I think those receivers like Cornell Powell, like Boland, I think, etc. Roland, excuse me. I think they'll find some holes in the secondary, just enough to where they're open enough to where even Tiamu can't miss him if he's Tiamuing. I think defensively, they're going to find a way to get after it. Same similar formula with the Battlehawks. They're going to slow down the run and force one of the 19 quarterbacks that Birmingham has played this year to try and beat them. And I think they do match up a little bit better with the Stallions receivers defensively. I think they're Deion Cade, K Johnson. They're really good. I think they can semi cover them if they can the same way with the Battlehawks receivers. So I'm going to take DC to somehow climb out of the depths of what are you doing the last few months and find a way to get it done and hoist one for the snake. For the beer snake, they're going to find a way to get a trophy just so next year they can have the trophy sitting at the top of the snake.
See, this is why I don't think DC ever wins a trophy in the UFL is because they have the beer snake. You literally get a trophy every game.
Or is that a consolation prize?
I mean, I think it's a great trophy personally. I'd rather have that trophy than actually have to go through the fight for the other one and get punched in the face too much. But no, I do think DC has a chance if they can make it to the championship. That's a hard matchup for anybody. That defense is really good, but it'll be interesting to see if they can actually figure out the offense. Is always my question with DC is just what are you going to do offensively? But yeah, it's always one of those situations. You know what I'm never going to bet on when it comes to these games is I'm never betting the over. Ever. Like I might bet one of these games as an over, and that would be the Stallions game, the USFL championship game. Them in Michigan offensively, fantastic. Defensively, they can get got. I think they get got more defensively than they don't. And so like that's the only one I even consider touching the over. I don't care what the over is anywhere else. It's not happening. But yeah, that's the only one I'd even consider it.
Absolutely. Let us know down below who you all think is going to be heading to the UFL championship and who you guys think is going to be hoisting the trophy at the end of the season.